Xyrix stared out the viewport of the USV Discovery, watching the stars streak by. Even after 6 months aboard the human vessel, the young Nixelians still felt out of place. Their purple skin and four-fingered hands marked them as different, but it was their telepathic abilities that truly set them apart. Captain Eric Mitchell had rescued Xyrix from the wreckage of a refugee transport after the fall of the Nixelian Empire. Unlike the other aliens who found homes with humans, Xyrix struggled to control their mind-reading abilities. Stray thoughts from the crew often invaded their consciousness without warning. Lieutenant Samantha Kelly walked into the observation deck and spotted the alien youth. She sighed quietly. The captain had assigned her as Xyrix's mentor despite her protests. "Still stargazing?" she asked, moving to stand beside Xyrix. The alien's large amber eyes blinked twice. "The patterns help me focus. Less noise." Kelly nodded, understanding that noise meant the thoughts of the 240 crew members aboard. "The captain wants to see you on the bridge. We've picked up something interesting." Xyrix followed her through the corridors. Crew members nodded politely as they passed, but Xyrix sensed their unease. Humans valued privacy of thought, something Xyrix couldn't always respect, even unintentionally. On the bridge, Captain Mitchell stood before the main view screen, his weathered face illuminated by its glow. "Ah, there you are. We've detected a distress signal from the Cygnus system." The language markers matched Nixelian patterns. Xyrix stepped forward, heart racing. "There are other survivors. Possibly. We're changing course to investigate, and I want you with us. You know the region better than anyone aboard." Officer Jeff Bennett looked up from his station. "Captain, the signal is degrading. Whoever sent it is losing power." "Time to arrival?" Mitchell asked. 4 hours at maximum speed," Bennett replied. Mitchell nodded. "Make it so." The Discovery entered the Cygnus system cautiously. Xyrix stood on the bridge, flanked by Kelly and Mitchell. The scanners showed a damaged ship floating near a small moon. "Nixelian scout vessel," Xyrix confirmed. "Older model." Mitchell ordered a closer approach. "Life signs." 6 signatures, reported Dr. Alan Brooks from his medical station. "Weak but stable." The captain turned to Xyrix. "I need you on the away team. These are your people, but remember you represent the Discovery now too." The transport shuttle carried Kelly, Brooks, and Xyrix to the damaged vessel. Using cutting tools, they created an entry point through the sealed airlock. Inside, emergency lighting cast red shadows across the corridor. "Hello," Kelly called out, her hand resting on her sidearm. "We received your distress signal. We're here to help." Movement came from the ship's central chamber. A tall Nixelian appeared, leaning against the doorway for support. His eyes widened at the sight of Xyrix among humans. "Impossible," he whispered in the clicking Nixelian language. "A youngling. With humans." Xyrix stepped forward. "I am Xyrix, rescued from the fall of our homeworld. These humans mean no harm. They offer assistance." 5 more Nixelians appeared behind the first, all showing signs of injury and malnutrition. One female pushed forward aggressively. "Humans are dangerous. Their minds are chaotic, unpredictable," she hissed. "How can you stand among them willingly?" Kelly sensed the tension despite not understanding the words. "Xyrix, what's happening?" "They fear you," Xyrix explained. "They believe humans to be dangerous." Dr. Brooks slowly opened his medical kit. "Tell them we just want to help the injured." The lead Nixelian studied the humans carefully before speaking again. "We fled something far worse than what destroyed our homeworld. Something that hunts us specifically." Xyrix translated for the humans, then asked, "What hunts you?" The female Nixelian's voice dropped to a whisper. "The Krelthax, ancient enemies who consider our kind abominations. And now, by bringing humans into this, you've endangered them too." As Xyrix relayed this information, Captain Mitchell's voice came through the communicator. "We're detecting an energy signature at the edge of the system. Unknown configuration, but it's big and moving fast." Get those survivors aboard immediately. Xerix looked at the frightened faces of their people, then at the concerned humans who had become family. First contact had been established, but it brought more danger than anyone had anticipated. The medical bay of the USV Discovery buzzed with activity as Dr. Alan Brooks tended to the 6 Nexelian survivors. Xerix watched from the corner, feeling strangely disconnected from their own kind. The oldest Nexelian, who called himself Karlak, sat on an examination table while Dr. Brooks scanned him. "Their vitals are unusual," Dr. Brooks said to Lieutenant Kelly. "Brain activity is erratic, especially in the frontal regions." Xerix moved closer. "May I?" they asked, raising a hand toward Karlak's temple. Karlak nodded slowly, and Xerix placed purple fingers against the elder's head. A rush of images flooded Xerix's mind. Stars, darkness, fear, and something massive following their ship. "They've been running for months," Xerix explained. "No proper rest or nutrition. And something happened to their minds. There's damage I can't explain." Captain Mitchell entered the medical bay and gestured for Xerix to join him in the hallway. "How are they adjusting?" he asked quietly. "They're scared and confused. Seeing humans help them goes against everything they've been taught." Mitchell crossed his arms. "And you? How does it feel to be with your own people again?" Xerix hesitated. "Strange. I've changed. They see me as different now." In the days that followed, the Nexelians were given quarters on Deck 6. Engineer Kate Foster was assigned to work with a Nexelian named Vexilor, who had been their scout ship's technician. They spent hours in engineering discussing the differences between human and Nexelian technology. "Your power systems are inefficient," Vexilor noted, pointing to the engine schematics on a display. "But creative. We never thought to use these materials together." Kate smiled. "Sometimes the best solutions come from working with what you have. Maybe we could modify your ship's engines using our approach." Vexilor agreed eagerly. As they worked together, the Nexelian grew more comfortable around humans. Kate showed him how to play card games during breaks, and Vexilor taught her Nexelian number systems. One afternoon, while Kate was called away to handle a minor emergency, Vexilor's curiosity led him to access files beyond the public engineering database. Security Officer Greg Peters noticed the unauthorized access and immediately locked down the terminal. "What are you doing?" Greg demanded, his hand moving to his sidearm. Vexilor stepped back, confused. "I was looking for more engine specifications. Is this knowledge forbidden?" The incident created a wave of distrust among some crew members. Captain Mitchell called a meeting with his senior staff. "We need to establish clear boundaries," Mitchell said. "They're guests, not prisoners, but security is still a priority." Lieutenant Kelly noticed that Xerix had been spending most of their time with the Nexelians, learning about their journey and sharing stories of life among humans. She felt a twinge of sadness, wondering if Xerix would prefer to leave with their own kind when the scout ship was repaired. After dinner one evening, Kelly found Xerix alone in the observation deck, their favorite spot. "You've been quiet lately," she said, sitting beside them. "I'm trying to understand my place," Xerix replied. "The others see me as tainted by human ways, but when I'm with humans, I'm still an alien." "You're both," Kelly suggested. "And maybe that's not a bad thing." Xerix started to respond when suddenly their body went rigid. Their amber eyes widened, and a soft gasp escaped their lips. Kelly reached for them as they began to tremble violently. "Xerix, what's happening?" "They're coming," Xerix whispered, their voice distant and strained. "I can feel them searching, hunting. So many minds joined as one, looking for us." Kelly hit her communicator. "Medical emergency in the observation deck. Dr. Brooks, get here now." Xerix convulsed once more before collapsing into Kelly's arms. Their purple skin had paled to a sickly lavender, and a thin trickle of blue fluid leaked from their nose. In Nexelian quarters, all 6 refugees awakened simultaneously, their telepathic senses overwhelmed by the same presence Xerix had detected. Kirlak's voice shook as he whispered to the others, "The Krelthax have found us. And now, they've found the humans too." Captain Eric Mitchell stood in the Discovery's command center, his face grim as he read the emergency message from Earth Command. Lieutenant Kelly and Commander Paul Wright watched him closely. "An unknown vessel has been tracking our position," Mitchell finally said. "It appeared shortly after we rescued the Nexelians." Commander Wright leaned forward. "Hostile. Unknown, but Earth Command advises extreme caution." Mitchell turned to the navigation officer. "Set course for the gas giant in this system. We're going dark." Within hours, the Discovery hovered in the thick atmosphere of the massive planet. The swirling gases would help mask their energy signature. In the medical bay, Xerix was finally waking up. Dr. Brooks and Lieutenant Kelly stood by the bed as the young alien's eyes fluttered open. "What happened?" Xerix asked weakly. "You collapsed," Kelly explained. "Some kind of telepathic event. The other Nexelians felt it too." Xerix sat up suddenly. "The Krelthax. I saw them in my mind. They're hunters from the ancient times of our history. They believe Nexelians are mistakes of nature that must be removed from the galaxy." Dr. Brooks checked the monitors. "Your brain scans showed massive activity in regions we don't fully understand. Whatever you experienced nearly caused neural damage." Captain Mitchell entered the medical bay. "I need to know everything about these Krelthax. Are they the unknown vessel following us?" "Yes," Xerix confirmed. "They have technology far beyond yours. They can track Nexelian brain patterns across great distances. That's how they found us." Mitchell's communicator beeped. "Captain, the Nexelian named Kirlak is requesting to speak with you," came the voice of Officer Peters. In the ship's conference room, Kirlak faced Captain Mitchell and his senior staff. Xerix sat beside the captain, still looking pale. "The Krelthax have hunted our kind for thousands of years," Kirlak explained. "They believe our telepathic abilities corrupt the natural order. When our empire fell, they seized the opportunity to finish what they call the cleansing." Commander Wright spoke up. "Our weapons and shields are advanced, but we can't fight what we don't understand." "I might be able to help with that," said Vexilor, who had been invited to join them. "I worked on defensive systems before becoming a scout. With Engineer Foster's help, perhaps we could modify your weapons." Captain Mitchell nodded. "Make it happen. Commander Wright will assist you." As the meeting ended, not everyone looked convinced. Officer Peters lingered behind. "Captain, with all due respect, are we endangering Earth by harboring these aliens? If these Krelthax are as powerful as they say—" "I understand your concern," Mitchell interrupted. "But we don't abandon people in need. That's not what humans do." Over the next 12 hours, Engineer Foster and Vexilor worked frantically in the weapons bay. Commander Wright provided tactical suggestions while Xerix shared what they knew about Krelthax technology. "Their ships use energy fields that can disrupt matter at a subatomic level," Xerix explained. "But they have a weakness. Their targeting systems rely on neural patterns. If we could generate false Nexelian brain signatures, we might confuse them." The ship suddenly shuddered. Captain Mitchell's voice came over the intercom. "All hands to battle stations. They found us." On the bridge, the view screen showed a massive vessel emerging from the swirling clouds of the gas giant. It was unlike any ship they had seen before, asymmetrical, with sections that seemed to shift and change. "They're scanning us," reported Officer Bennett. "Our hiding." The Discovery shook violently as another energy blast from the Krelthax vessel struck its shields. Red emergency lights flashed across the bridge. Smoke poured from a damaged console where a crew member lay injured. "Shields at 30%. Officer Bennett called out, his voice steady despite the chaos. Captain Mitchell gripped his command chair. "Evasive pattern Delta. Focus fire on their weapon ports." The Discovery rolled sharply, its engines straining as it fired a volley of torpedoes. The explosions barely scratched the massive Krelthax ship. In engineering, Kate Foster and Vexlor worked frantically to reroute power. "The shield modifications are failing," Vexlor said, his purple hands moving quickly across the control panel. Kate wiped sweat from her brow. "We need more time." The ship rocked again. Captain Mitchell's voice came over the intercom. "Engineering, we need those shields now or we're done for." On the bridge, Lieutenant Kelly helped a wounded crew member to safety. The view screen showed the Krelthax vessel preparing another attack, its strange hull glowing with building energy. "This could be it," Commander Wright said quietly. Captain Mitchell stood up straight. All hands brace for impact. "It's been an honor serving with." A brilliant flash of light cut him off. 5 new ships appeared between the Discovery and the Krelthax vessel. They were sleek, clearly human-made, but with technology the Discovery's crew had never seen before. "Captain," Bennett exclaimed, "those are Earth ships, but they're not in our database." The lead ship fired a series of precise energy beams that cut into the Krelthax vessel, forcing it to break off its attack. A communication signal beeped on the command console. "This is Captain Susan Parker of the USV Challenger. Looks like you could use some help, Discovery." Relief washed over Mitchell's face. "Captain Parker, your timing is excellent. But I wasn't aware of any other deep space vessels with this capability." "There's a lot you haven't been briefed on yet, Captain Mitchell," Parker replied. "Form up with our fleet. We need to drive this hunter away before reinforcements arrive." The Discovery joined the human fleet, their combined weapons forcing the Krelthax vessel to retreat. Before it jumped to faster-than-light speed, it released a powerful energy pulse. "They're sending a signal to their fleet," Zyrex said, having joined the bridge crew during the battle. "Calling for help." After the danger passed, Captain Parker transported aboard the Discovery. She was tall with short gray hair and moved with the confidence of someone used to command. Captain Mitchell met her in the docking bay along with his senior staff. "I have questions," Mitchell said as they shook hands. Parker nodded. "I'm sure you do. After first contact with the Regellians 3 years ago, Earth realized we needed better defenses. We've been building up quietly, establishing outposts and making friends." "Friends?" Commander Wright asked. "Allies," Parker clarified. "Other species who also fear the Krelthax. There are more of us out here than you know." In the medical bay, Dr. Brooks examined Zyrex, who had collapsed again during the battle. "Your brain activity is off the charts," he told the young alien. "Something happened when the Krelthax attacked, didn't it?" Zyrex nodded weakly. "I felt connected to their ship somehow. For a moment, I could sense their communications, even disrupt them. It was like a door opened in my mind." Lieutenant Kelly, who had been watching over Zyrex, looked concerned. "Is that why they broke off their attack? Because of you?" "Possibly," Zyrex said, "but it hurt. A lot." Dr. Brooks studied his readings. This could be important. If Zyrex can interfere with Krelthax systems, it might give us an advantage. Captain Mitchell and Captain Parker entered the medical bay. "We're setting course for Outpost Horizon," Parker announced. "It's a hidden human base where representatives from allied species are waiting. If the Krelthax are sending their fleet, we need to prepare." Zyrex sat up, despite Dr. Brooks' protests. "There's something else. When I connected to their ship, I sensed something older behind them. Something controlling them. The Krelthax aren't the real enemy. They're just the hunters. There's a master giving the orders." Captain Parker's expression darkened. "Then it's worse than we thought. We need to move quickly." The 2 human ships, now joined as allies, engaged their engines and left the system behind, heading toward a gathering that would determine the fate of multiple species. Outpost Horizon floated in space near a small red dwarf star, hidden from major travel routes. As the Discovery approached alongside the Challenger, Zyrex gazed out the viewport in amazement. The station was enormous, with various sections clearly built using different architectural styles. Some parts weren't made by humans, Zyrex said to Lieutenant Kelly as they prepared to board. Kelly nodded. Captain Parker says this is a joint project. Many species working together. Captain Mitchell selected his team carefully. Himself, Commander Wright, Lieutenant Kelly, and Zyrix would represent the Discovery. The Nexelian elder Karolak asked to join them as well. My people should have a voice in this, he said simply. The station's docking bay was filled with activity. Humans in uniforms worked alongside beings from at least 3 other species. Some looked almost human with subtle differences, while others were completely alien in form. Captain Parker greeted them at the airlock. Welcome to Outpost Horizon. The council is already gathering. She led them through wide corridors where the air smelled slightly different. A mix of Earth atmosphere adjusted to accommodate various biological needs. They entered a large circular room with a round table at its center. 7 different species were already seated, their representatives watching the newcomers with interest. Representatives from 7 worlds, Parker explained. The Aurelians, the Voral, the Meridians, the Nexelians, and 3 human colonies. An alien with iridescent skin and 4 eyes stood up. I am Shirka of the Aurelian Collective. We welcome the Discovery crew. Your reputation precedes you. Mitchell looked confused. Our reputation. A human woman with colony insignia nodded. Word spreads fast in this sector. Humans who adopt and protect the displaced. Warriors who stand against threats not their own. Not many would face a Krulthax hunter to protect refugees. Zyrix felt a swell of pride for their adopted family. Humans were known for their compassion as much as their courage. As the meeting began, each representative shared information about Krulthax activities in their region. The picture that emerged was troubling. A coordinated effort to eliminate certain species, particularly those with telepathic or empathic abilities. Shirka, the Aurelian, finally addressed the most important question. The Krulthax are not acting alone. Our ancient records speak of entities called the Architects. They view sentient life as a resource to be cultivated and harvested. The Krulthax are their servants, their hunters. A holographic display appeared above the table, showing strange geometric shapes that seemed to shift and change as they watched. The Architects find telepathic species threatening because such abilities can disrupt their control methods. Shirka continued. The Nexelians were targeted first because their mental powers were evolving rapidly. Karolak nodded sadly. Our scientists discovered this just before our empire fell. We were developing defenses, but it was too late. Lieutenant Kelly looked at Zyrix with sudden understanding. That's why you could interfere with their ship. Your abilities are exactly what they fear. Dr. Brooks, who had joined them to monitor Zyrix's condition, spoke up. During the battle, Zyrix's brain showed patterns I've never seen before. If we could enhance these abilities somehow. A Meridian scientist with translucent skin joined the conversation. We have technology that might help, but the process is dangerous. It would permanently alter Nexelian neural pathways. A Voral engineer added, our power systems could support such technology. We've been working on similar defenses. Dr. Brooks looked thoughtful. With our human medical research combined with your technologies, we might create a system to amplify Zyrix's abilities safely. All eyes turned to the young Nexelian. Zyrix felt the weight of their attention. The procedure could change you forever, Kelly said quietly. No one would blame you for refusing. Captain Mitchell placed a hand gently on Zyrix's shoulder. This has to be your choice. No matter what you decide, you're still part of our crew, our family. Zyrix looked around at the gathering. Representatives of 7 worlds united against a common threat. Among them sat humans who had rescued, protected, and adopted a lone alien refugee. The decision wasn't just about Zyrix anymore. It was about saving both their birth species and their adopted human family. How soon can we begin? Zyrix asked. Preparations for the procedure began immediately. A large chamber in the medical section of Outpost Horizon was converted using technology from all the allied species. Dr. Brooks worked alongside alien scientists, combining their knowledge to create something new. Zayrix sat quietly in their temporary quarters, meditating as Kurlak had taught them. Lieutenant Kelly entered with a small tray of food. "You should eat something," she said, setting the tray down. "Dr. Brooks says you'll need your strength." Zayrix opened their amber eyes. "I'm afraid," they admitted. "Not of the pain, but of changing. What if I lose myself?" Kelly sat beside them. "You won't. The core of who you are doesn't change that easily. Trust me, I've seen how strong you are." Their conversation was interrupted by an alarm blaring throughout the station. Captain Mitchell's voice came over the intercom system. "All personnel to emergency stations. We have detected multiple Krellfax vessels approaching. This is not a drill." In the command center, Mitchell and Parker studied the sensor readings with growing concern. The Meridian sensors had detected a fleet of 15 Krellfax ships heading directly toward Outpost Horizon. "They'll be here in 3 hours," Commander Wright reported. "Much sooner than we expected." Captain Parker turned to Mitchell. "We need more time for the procedure. If Zayrix can't disrupt their communications, we won't stand a chance against so many ships." Mitchell nodded grimly. "The Discovery will join your defense fleet. We'll slow them down however we can." In engineering, Kate Foster and Vexlor worked with engineers from various species to install new defensive technology across the human fleet. The Voral had provided energy-dampening devices that might weaken Krellfax weapons. "Will these actually work?" Kate asked Vexlor as they calibrated a device. The Nexelian technician's hands moved quickly across the controls. "In theory. We never had time to test them before our world fell." Commander Wright gathered volunteer pilots for a dangerous mission. They would take small fighter craft to deploy specialized mines along the Krellfax approach vector. "This won't be easy," Wright told them. "These mines must be placed precisely to create a disruption field. It's likely to be a one-way trip for some of us." Despite the danger, every pilot volunteered. A human colony representative watching the briefing whispered to Captain Parker, "Now I understand the stories about Earth humans." In the medical chamber, Dr. Brooks made final adjustments to the neural enhancement equipment. The procedure would use Aurelian crystal technology, Voral power systems, Meridian biointerfaces, and human medical techniques. "We're ready," he told Zayrix. "But I must warn you again, the pain will be intense, and we can't predict all the changes to your neural structure." Zayrix climbed onto the central platform where tubes and sensors would connect to their body. "Just promise to finish, no matter what happens or what I say during the process." Lieutenant Kelly took her position at a monitoring station. She would serve as Zayrix's mental anchor, a familiar presence to focus on during the procedure. "I'll be right here," she promised. The procedure began as the first reports came in from the outer defense line. Commander Wright's fighters had deployed their mines successfully, but 3 pilots hadn't returned. The Discovery and 5 other ships formed a perimeter around Outpost Horizon. As Dr. Brooks activated the neural enhancers, Zayrix screamed in pain. The aliens' consciousness expanded beyond their physical form, touching minds throughout the station. Kelly gripped the console, refusing to look away despite her friend's suffering. Through the haze of pain, Zayrix suddenly sensed something vast approaching. Not just the Krellfax fleet, but something else, something ancient and cold that watched through the hunter's eyes. "They're here," Zayrix gasped. "But there's something else, an architect vessel hiding behind the fleet." The station's alarms blared as the first Krellfax ships appeared, destroying the minefield. Captain Mitchell's voice came through the communicator. "Dr. Brooks, whatever you're doing, do it faster. We're out of time." Zayrix felt their mind stretching beyond normal limits. The pain was unbearable, but they focused on Kelly's face, on the humans who had become family. With a final surge of determination, Zayrix embraced the burning agony as the procedure accelerated. Outside, the battle for survival had begun. The space around Outpost Horizon erupted with energy blasts and explosions. The human fleet fought bravely against the superior Krellfax ships. The Discovery, under Captain Mitchell's command, darted between larger enemy vessels, firing precisely at weak points identified by Vexilor. Inside the medical chamber, Xerix floated inches above the platform, surrounded by a blue energy field. Their eyes had turned completely white. Dr. Brooks monitored the readings with growing concern. "Neural activity off the charts," he reported. "I've never seen anything like this." Lieutenant Kelly kept her eyes fixed on Xerix. "Stay with us," she whispered. "Remember who you are." Xerix could barely hear her. Their mind now extended far beyond their body, touching the consciousness of everyone on the station. They could feel the Krelthax minds too, not truly evil, but enslaved to something ancient and terrible. With newfound clarity, Xerix understood what needed to be done. They reached out toward the station's communication array, connecting their enhanced mind to its systems. "What are they doing?" asked the Aurelian scientist. Dr. Brooks watched in amazement. "They're channeling their telepathic abilities through our technology, amplifying it." Across the battlefield, something extraordinary happened. The Krelthax ships suddenly slowed, their coordinated attack faltering. Inside each vessel, the hunters clutched their heads as the telepathic connection to their masters was disrupted. On the Discovery's bridge, Captain Mitchell noticed the change. "What's happening to them?" "It's Xerix," Commander Wright realized. "They're blocking the control signal." Not all Krelthax were affected equally. Some ships continued their attack, while others drifted aimlessly. A few turned their weapons against a massive vessel that had appeared at the edge of the battle. The Architect ship, finally revealed. Captain Parker's voice came through the communication system. "All ships, focus fire on the newly revealed vessel. This may be our only chance." Captain Mitchell made a quick decision. "We're going in. Prepare for close assault." The Discovery led a daring attack run against the Architect vessel, a strange geometric structure that seemed to shift and change as they approached. Lieutenant Kelly coordinated from Outpost Horizon, relaying information between the fleet and Xerix. The lower quadrant, Xerix communicated through Kelly. That's where its control systems are concentrated. The human fleet poured firepower into the specified area. The Architect vessel responded with a weapon that twisted space itself, destroying 2 human ships instantly. But the combined assault was too much, even for such advanced technology. After a fierce battle that seemed to last forever, the Architect vessel began to withdraw, pulling the remaining loyal Krelthax ships with it. The freed Krelthax vessels remained behind, their crews now facing the reality of centuries of forced service. In the medical chamber, Xerix collapsed as the energy field dissipated. Their purple skin now had patterns of light that glowed from within. Dr. Brooks rushed to stabilize them, but Xerix waved him away. "I'm all right," they said in a voice that somehow echoed. "Different, but still me." 3 days later, representatives from all allied species gathered in the main hall of Outpost Horizon. Captain Mitchell, though injured in the battle, stood proudly alongside his crew. The Discovery had suffered damage but would fly again. Xerix stepped forward to address the gathering. Their appearance had changed, taller now, with glowing patterns across their skin, but their amber eyes remained the same. "What saved us wasn't just technology, or even my enhanced abilities," Xerix said. "It was the human capacity for adoption, not just of alien orphans like me, but of causes not their own, of battles they didn't start, of responsibility for protecting others." Xerix looked at Captain Mitchell, Lieutenant Kelly, and the humans who had become family. The Architects never understood this. They see connection as control. Humans show that real strength comes from choosing to stand together. In the days that followed, a formal alliance was created. Earth became a founding member, with colonies and allied species joining under a banner of mutual protection. Xerix, recognized as both Nixelian and human, was named the first ambassador. The Discovery, repaired and upgraded, received new orders from Earth Command to venture further into the galaxy, seeking other displaced species in need of allies. Captain Mitchell gathered his crew, a mix of humans and adopted aliens, ready for their next mission. On the observation deck, Zarek stood beside Lieutenant Kelly, watching the stars. Though changed forever, they had found their place, a bridge between worlds, adopted by humans, and stronger for it.